Hello all, Angelo Amato here, writer, producer, director of my full feature film entitled Max, an inspirational love story involving a man with autism. I am here at Francis Lewis Park in Whitestone, and in the background we have the beautiful Whitestone Bridge, which is actually featured in the film and during the opening credits, and another scene during the film. In my last segment I spoke a bit about screenplay writing, and you can check that out on the same YouTube channel that the film is on. So if you YouTube Max and Angelo Amato Film, you'll be able to see the film, but also on that channel you'll be able to see little snippets of videos such as this, which talk about low-budget filmmaking and things that you can do in the process. My last segment was about how to write a screenplay, so you can check that out. It's entitled Tips on How to Write a Screenplay. And let's say now your screenplay is done, right? It's done. You've gotten it copywritten and you have it, and now the question is, what is the next step? And I'm going to say something here that I know a lot of people who are into low budget filmmaking might disagree with, because I'm going to talk a bit now about casting. And the one thing that I really did kind of backward when it comes to casting is I wanted to, being that it was a low budget film, my mentality was the two most important things that I really want to focus on is I want to focus on writing a great story and getting very good actors to be in the film. And so, but I don't have a crazy expensive budget to pay actors great pay. So in knowing that, I knew that I would really need actors that really had drive and grit and really saw something in the story that would make them want to be a part of it. So in knowing that, I actually looked to cast my actors before I secured my locations, which can be kind of backwards. If you ask a lot of people, they would say first secure your locations, like if there are scenes that are inside a store or a supermarket or something like that, and then find actors that are available on those days. But my point of view is, well, of course you want the location, but what's more important? Is it more important to get a location, or is it more important to get a great actor to play the part? So my philosophy was, let me do the casting first. And of course, when you put out an audition, a post for people to apply to, you have to give some specifics. So of course, you have to have a general time frame of when you want when you plan on shooting your film. So is it a certain month? Is it nights? Is it weekends? I knew personally that I wanted to film in the summer. The summer can be a great time, even though of course it can be hot. Living in New York, you have the benefit of the weather and it being calm, not windy. I'll talk about that in another segment. Sound and the challenges of sound. Even when you have great equipment, sound is both your best friend but also your biggest enemy sometimes. So, wind is calm. You have more sunlight in the summer. So I knew generally that I wanted to film in the month of July. So I really focused on putting out post casting call for the project, and there are a number of different platforms that you can do this on. There's something called Actors Access, which you can be on as an actor. There's also something called Backstage, and Backstage back in the day used to be a magazine. You could only get it like in the city at like a newsstand. Now it's kind of like, it's an actor platform. It's kind of like, in a way, if you're unfamiliar with it, you can kind of think of it as like this, like think of social media platforms like Facebook or Instagram, right? You have a profile, right? So on Backstage, actors have profiles that include their headshots, include maybe like a reel, which is a clip showing them, ideally multiple clips, short clips of films that they've acted in. And so as an actor, you have a profile on there and you can apply to certain projects. As a filmmaker, you can also post your project on there as a casting call, saying a little something like the synopsis, and also giving a little something about each character. And if actors think that it's something they want to do, they'll apply to the role, and you as the whoever is doing the casting can look at the people who have applied and their material and say, you know what, this person might be good for the part. And so you can respond back and you can send them what is referred to as the sides, which is like just maybe a scene, a page or two, and they can practice it, and they can basically do a self-tape. They call it a self-tape audition. Back in the day, all the auditions you had to go in person, but now people they use their iPhones and they do their own little audition, maybe in their home, in their basement. They have like a little space set up with a plain wall, or some sort of a plain white pull down screen, and they do their audition and they send it in. So my philosophy was not in casting was it reminds me of this scene in the film. I don't know if you've ever seen the film Miracle, based on the 1980 U.S. hockey team, right? And the famous their manager Herb Brooks, which was played by Kurt Russell. And there's a scene in the film where Herb Brooks, is with the assistant coach, and it's tryouts, and Herb Brooks says to his assistant, he goes, I already have my team. I already know who I want. And the assistant goes, Herb, it's only like the second day of tryouts here, and I see here that you're cutting some of your best players. And Brooks turns around and goes, I'm not looking for the best players. I'm looking for the right ones. Not the best players, the right ones. Of course, you want your actors to be really good, talented actors, but you also, especially if it's a low-budget film and you don't have, I'm just going to say it, you don't have the funding to create a pampered environment, and you want actors that have grit, that are determined, that believe in the story. I heard Stallone talking about the original Rocky and saying how, they had their wardrobe in a truck and they would just pull it out and just put it on, and everyone step up to the plate. You want actors that, if there's something that needs to be moved, if there's, that they're not going to feel, well, that's not my job, right? I mean, again, if you have the funding, great, but if you don't, then you want actors that are, they believe in the story, and they're happy about the opportunity. And of course, yes, they have to be gifted and they have to be talented, and that's really what I aimed for in the casting of this film. And ultimately, I was very satisfied with the performances that the actors put in. Everyone gave it their all. You want people that can put their ego aside and really, believe in the story. And I say that also not just as someone who made a film, but also as someone who has far more experience in acting. Very often the ego is the enemy. How am I looking? How am I coming across? All that is in the head. You got to push that aside, and it's about being in the moment and the importance of telling the story. All right, all, have a great day. Again, if you'd like, you can, hope I'm not doing too much shaking. If you'd like, you can continue to, you can like and subscribe to this YouTube channel for more clips like this on low budget filmmaking to come. Thank you. And again, you can check out the film, Max and Angelo Amato Film, on YouTube. Have a great day.